Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Today, I am creating my first project in Blender, the arsenal of my character, the Vigilante. This is not a Blender tutorial. This is me learning how to use Blender. So if you're looking for a Blender tutorial, I recommend seeking help elsewhere, as I have no real idea what I'm doing. This is me learning the tools, the basics of the program, so that I can create more and more complex projects later on. Just wanted to start with something simple, a shield. So the first thing I did was create that plane that is my dimensions. I think it's about 24 inches wide by, it ends up being, I think, 11 inches wide, if I remember correctly. And so this is a very small shield. Think the Captain America Wakanda shield, very much a personal hand to hand defense tool, piece of equipment. And the idea is you have something that you can defend yourself with as well as use as a weapon if you need to. Captain America uses that shield for punching. And this design that I have, or the idea of it, is actually based heavily on another YouTuber, Eli, over at ZNA Productions. I think he's great. His content is hilarious. Highly recommend checking him out. He called his version of this the Brawler Shield. His was just a flat 3/4 inch oak plywood shield, and his choice of material makes sense for what he was doing. I'm creating this more with the idea of it being maybe a 3/16 plate steel, maybe a hardened carbon steel, so that it might actually stop or deflect smaller caliber bullets. I'm not sure. I'd have to test that out, which would be a fun project to do later on. Actually, build this and test its capabilities, maybe make a couple versions of it using different grades of steel and see what it's actually capable of. That's a project for later. I don't have access to a welder right now, so not going to be something I'm doing right away. But like I said, the idea is it's a small, personal, hand-to-hand combat style shield. Um, and you'll see here I am putting a slight cant on that handle. Only issue I can think of with that is that it does make it very much a single-sided piece of equipment. You cannot switch back and forth comfortably. Maybe 3D print a couple of these, figure out which way I like it better, on hand or main hand or off hand, or just make that handle straight so that it can be ambidextrous. But like I said, that's a thought for another time. I don't have access to a 3D printer or the tools to actually make this. Then I measured my forearm so I can know where I want to go from the handle to the forearm strap that would actually hold it in place. And like I said, I'm learning how to use Blender. I don't really know how to do the tools very well, so I couldn't actually make a screw, but the idea here would be a screw, a bolt rather, or a piece of all thread that would hold down that strap. And that was just over midway down my forearm, a little bit closer to my elbow. And those bolts would just hold that down so that it creates a solid attachment point. And like I said, this would be a kind of hand-to-hand combat style weapon. So something that you can punch with. So having that 3/16 edge at the very top would not be ideal for using it in that sort of combat role where you are hitting people with it. Shield bash should be fine. You've got that full face, but actually punching with it, you would do way more damage to people than I think is okay, or than I think I would want. So I'm going to add right here, I'm going to add an extra face basically to the top so that when you hit somebody, it's an impact and not, oops, I just basically put a blade through your chest, um, is the idea with what I'm doing here. It also might add a little bit more protection for your hand. You got that front protection, basically like a kind of like the guard on a cutlass or any weapon that has that sort of hand protection. Um, Next step after that is going to be laying out the UVs, the spaces basically in a 2D plane so that you can apply texture to it. So that again, I can visualize this piece of equipment in 3D space. And like I said, I am just learning all these tools. So those of you out there who know how to use Blender who are watching this cringing, I apologize. Uh, I'm just learning how to use these tools right now, basically, as I'm going. Had to cut out a lot of pauses as I did research trying to figure out how to do certain things. So again, I apologize for the clumsiness of my Blender usage. And then once I finish laying out the UVs, I am going to apply a quick texture. Built a quick scene in Unreal Engine so that you can actually, so that I can actually render out short videos of it. Um, and then yeah, that's my design, my version of the Brawler Shield, I guess. Let me know what you think, and if there's anything else you'd like to see. Thanks.